absolute Wonder Woman is still absolute cinema, and today is the day that we finally continue our coverage of the story so you guys still know what's going on in the absolute universe. So with that being said, let's not waste any more of your precious time and jump back into Diana's journey as a witch who was raised in hell. So if you don't remember, issue number 6 consisted of Diana making her case to Hades as to why she left the underworld because she wasn't allowed to. And even though her main reason for leaving was to defend Gateway City from the Tetracide, Hades' stance on the matter was unchanged, and he still ended up punishing her by revealing that he was holding Diana's mother Circe hostage. This issue, on the other hand, picks up in the past with Diana running throughout the Wild Isle of Hell, playing tag with a dog-like creature she befriended, until being interrupted and greeted by an entity known as Lady Persephone. Persephone would then proceed to introduce her to a tree that she considered to be very special because most plants in hell ended up dying instantaneously. However, every great once in a while, something special like the tree would overcome the odds and grow up to be something great, just like she believed Diana would be great when she grew up and reached her full potential. But wanting to teach Diana as much as she possibly could to prepare her for the future, Persephone would then take her into her arms to walk her back home before asking if she ever heard the story of how she became queen of the underworld, implying that it involved a kidnapping and some very diabolical pomegranate seeds. However, our story then brings us back over to present day with Diana in the midst of a brutal showdown against a creature called a chimera, because if she successfully defeated the monster, then her mother would regain her freedom. Meanwhile, Hades and Persephone, who are married but also hate each other, were observing the clash from a nearby platform while predicting what the outcome would be. And while Wonder Woman slammed the chimera into one of the arena walls, Hades began telling Persephone that he was thinking about banning magic from the arena because if you don't remember, Diana only has one real arm because after sacrificing one of them to get Steve Trevor out of hell, she eventually made a new arm that relied on magic. So Hades thought seeing her fight against his chimera with even more odds stacked against her could make the battle even more entertaining and interesting. Persephone, on the other hand, suggested that he just leave things as they were out of belief that he'd feel quite embarrassed when Diana still defeated the chimera despite being at such a disadvantage. As the story continues though, we're then brought back over to the past where a young Diana was bundled up and sleeping in her bed as her mother sat in front of the fireplace desperately calling out to the goddess Hecate because she was worried about Diana's future. When Hecate finally appeared though, she told Circe to make it quick because she only had a few seconds to spare. So Circe began explaining that she felt like she was dealing with the impossible, indicating that she had no clue how to get Diana out of hell so she could fulfill her purpose as a hero when the time eventually came to do so. But Hecate assured her that there was no need to worry about such a thing, emphasizing that the path had already been laid, but they needed to keep quiet about it because there were ears listening everywhere. However, right before leaving, Hecate warned that there was going to be some sort of a game that would have to take place